Yeah, I think this time, like, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently because previously I would put down a weapon and then I would talk about them a lot. So I think this time around, I'm just gonna do each like rank, I guess, and then I'm gonna give like a really brief, like a little summary on why, but also, you know, I still want to give something, like some reasoning as to why I'm putting things there. Also, everything is gonna be ordered. But yeah, I think all the weapons right now are really, really good. They've fixed a lot of things, or there's like stuff on the weapons that are just like really insane. So let's go. Axe is super simple. I think it's pretty free to put it at the top right now. I'm leaning more towards 1v1s and 2v2s, but even with that being said, Axe is still super strong. Like the damage you can get off like Sidelight Nair, Sair is just abysmal. The nerfs that they gave it didn't even do anything. And yeah, I think Axe has a lot of kill potential. I feel like some of the combos, it just shouldn't exist. Sidelight Sair being one of them. Dare into D-Light, I don't think should work as often as it does. D-Light on its own is really insane. Ed-Light on its own is really insane. I'm just hoping next time they do a patch, it actually matters. Orb is Orb. It's like Axe. They nerfed it, but it's like, okay, it might as well not have. They literally took the damage down from 17 to 15. And Orb's just super fluid. The one thing it can't do is kill, really, at least off this side. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty good like with edge guarding and stuff. The strings you can get, pretty much every move will lead into another, and like once you get a hit, it's gonna feel super fluid to move into each attack, or like into whatever attack you choose. And that's kind of like the same situation with bow, except bow, I would say there's a couple situations where bow, it's like bow's weird because you can like hit a sidelight, for example, but then you're not going to be able to have it lead into a D-Light or really like do anything with it, so it can feel like empty at times. Even with that being said though, bow is going to feel really good to play. Nair, I think, is one of the easiest moves to hit in the game, although it's not really going to kill. It's good at getting damage. And just like if you're good at juggling your opponent, bow is going to be one of the best anti-air weapons in the game. I think Scythe gets a little underrated sometimes just because there's not too many people playing it, but when people play it, it's like clear as day that this weapon's still insane. Again, it's another weapon that got nerfed. They took one active frame off of Nair, does nothing, doesn't make sense why they even bothered, to me at least. I mean, maybe there's something that's noticeable, but I haven't been able to tell because I've been practicing nothing but Mordex. So Scythe, like once you get a read, it is, you can say it's harder, but like the off stage is ridiculous. I think Scythe ground pound is crazy. I think it might be one of the best ground pounds in the game. And the strings, if they burn their dodge right in front of you, right, you can get like 70 damage pretty easy right off the bat, and it's going to feel really good to play. And yeah, I think the best thing that Hammer has going for it right now is the fact that like Stomp Sair is one of the quickest like time to kill combos in the game, and that's really good to have if you combine Hammer with like Orb, right? That's why a character like Thor is super good, or a character like Bodvar is super good, because you can rely on the Hammer as a kill option. And also just like the damage and stuff. Also, when you look at like a player like Java, the off stage that you can do with Hammer recovery alone is crazy. And if they're actually like a good Hammer player, they're going to be able to figure stuff out with it, especially with how weapon throws are completely bonkers, but that's another discussion. So that alone, the fact that the off stage, like playing against Hammer off stage, is horrifying off of just one move is really insane. I had a little bit of disagreement with me putting Gauntlets in S, but I still think Gauntlets are really good. I mean, a while ago, they took away like the 3-piece combo that you could do, and they nerfed recovery, I think, a little bit. But even then, Gauntlets are still awesome. I think Gauntlets are probably one of the best pressure weapons in the game. The offstage is pretty easy. Like a lot of the times you can get into a good flow chart, at least I feel like I can. To be fair, I've been playing the weapon since they've come out. With that being said, though, I think that Gauntlets can get hurt, especially in like the bow matchup, but I do think Gauntlets do very well into weapons like Axe, which is why I think they deserve to be an S tier, right? Because like they're a direct counter to a weapon like Axe, especially if you get a little bit of momentum. I'm curious to see how katars are going to do in 1v1s this weekend for Winter Champs. You now can get Nair sidelight into like D-Light True, so there's a couple things off of Nair that might be really good. And also katars in general, they are pretty good, so I think they can, for the time being, just throw them at the like towards the bottom of S tier. And Sword, I mean, S, Sword, you know, they both start with S. Like, Sword's crazy. Sword's always been able to do what it needs to. It's, like, always a solid weapon to pair with another weapon. Just because if you're good at it, you're going to find success. Sidelight, I think, is really, really good. Sword recovery is extremely good. Yeah, I mean, Sword's just literally that weapon that I think you can do whatever you want to as far as nerfs, buffs, and it's just always going to be solid. Then moving down to A+, I think I keep Greatsword at the top of A+, just because Greatsword, you're going to have a lot of 50-50s. I think there's individual moves on Greatsword that are really good, and the finishers are just built-in signatures, which it shouldn't really have. Like, the Force still needs some sort of nerf, I think. I also believe that with Greatsword, though, there's like some situations where you're going to have like weird drops and stuff, and you're not going to be able to continue the string how you want. I think Greatsword easily could be bumped up to one of the best weapons in the game again, depending on what they do with the dodge mechanic that they have in Experimental. Spear, I think Spear, like, you have Dare, you have Endlight. I think Nair is always a move to look at on Spear. Spear's pretty easy to use. I think a lot of the times, though, it feels like if you miss a move on Spear, right? Like, if you go for, like, a Sidelight or if you go for an Endlight, unlike Axe, right? If you hit a Sidelight in particular, you're going to have a guaranteed follow-up, whether it's Sair or if it's Nair. With Spear, you don't really have that unless they don't have a dodge, which can be tough at some points. But even then, like, the dodge reads, like, if you do catch the dodge, you're going to get a lot of damage off of it. I think egg dropping on Spear, right? Basically weapon throwing into a Dare on Spear is really good. I think Dare alone is like super good. Endlight can set up borderline a 50-50. Either they're going to have to jump or they're going to have to like dodge and stay on the ground. So if you're a practice Spear player, it's going to be really easy to use this and get a lot of damage really quickly. But even then, you know, Spear's just, it's a weapon that is for the most part consistent aside from D-Light drops. I think the best word to describe Cannon is just dumb. Like Sair on that allows just so much movement. So the neutral of that weapon is the person's literally going to be flying around you at all times with the hitbox out. Albeit the hitbox isn't big. If it connects with you, well, if you're damaged at all, you're going to be losing stage control, which isn't fun to deal with. I think also some of the Cannon characters that are really good right now, when you look at Onyx, when you look at Zol in particular, those two, like Zol is just a nightmare to deal with on Cannon because he's the highest strength character in the game, right? And D-Light Nair is also a pretty good kill option already on Cannon. And the fact that he has so much high strength, that makes a move like Nair really worrisome to play against. Also, the amount of damage you're going to be getting off of each string is a lot more. You're going to be killing earlier. Yeah, there's just a lot you can do on Cannon, and it's just awkward to fight. Like, that's the biggest thing that Cannon has going for it, is that the strings are nice, but also just fighting it, like, you never feel, at least I don't, I never feel, like, comfortable fighting Cannon, just given that half the moves, like, the player's going to be moving with them, and it can be hard to really, like, track them down and actually catch them with something that leads to a lot of damage. I always hate ranking blasters because blasters are really weird, and the only two people we have to, like, go off of are Boomy and Cody, who happen to be the best Blasters players in the world, easily, right? I mean, Blasters did win BCX, but I think that's more so a testament to the fact that Cody has been playing the weapon for give or take 6 years at this point, right? Like, he's been playing Barraza since the dawn of time. And I think there are things on Blasters that are really good. I think they can be really strong. Like, they're good at just, like, zoning you, keeping you away. D-Light recovery is a pretty good kill option. It also does like 30 plus damage if you do hit it. Any guaranteed like dodge punish you have on blasters, like you're gonna get solid damage. But I think the fact that blasters are so good at poking, and if the person can just like space you really well, blasters are gonna be super hard to fight. Again, this is still A+, but I'm gonna put Lance at the bottom. The sample size of Lance, it feels like people are playing Lance the same. They did make Sidelight Dare more consistent, which is really good. They also like thickened up, I think, part of the Nair hitboxing in the last patch, which I don't know how much that's doing. All I know is Lance, from the little I've played it, it feels good to play. And from what I've seen, it looks like, you know, I think Lance players overall are pretty content with it, and I think they should be. It's super hard to rank all these weapons in order, so again, this is just coming down to personal preference, but I think roughly this is like a good idea of what it's looking like. I think every weapon has something that's just absolutely absurd and probably should be removed, but with that being said, you know, I'm gonna have to put something in first, I'm gonna have to put something in last, and there's gonna be a bunch in the middle that you guys probably agree or disagree with. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna release a Legends tier list probably Saturday or Sunday. We'll see. With that being said, watch the stream next time. And yeah, I'll see you guys around. Peace.